Hey folks, how you doing? We're going to have another multi-part video today. I'm going to talk about a bunch of very advanced and non-traditional techniques and give you guys some exercises for some of that if you're looking for something to do because you're a glutton for punishment. So today we're going to talk about roughs and flams and gallops and backwards triplets and a whole bunch of other just very advanced non-traditional techniques. We're going to start with roughs. So this is an idea that I got straight from rudimental drumming and have tried to apply to the baron. And the way that I figured out how to do it, or that I kind of fell into it, was that I was trying to emulate some of Seamus O'Kane's playing in one of the YouTube videos. And he wasn't playing roughs specifically, but I was trying to play that the way that he was playing in the video, and a bunch of extra strokes just kind of came out by accident, and so I figured out what they were and figured out what I was doing, and discovered that I actually found an effective way to play roughs. So in rudimental drumming, a rough is a primary note, which would be on the beat, say, so da, and then two grace notes that come before it, da-da. So a normal rough would be a three-stroke ornament, digga-da, 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 digga-da. That would be a normal rough. You wouldn't have a two-stroke rough, da-da, because that would be a flam, da-da. So we're actually going to start, though, with four-stroke roughs, digga-da-da, because that's the basic technique on the baron that will then apply to the rough idea. We're just using a normal triplet. So if you look on your sheet, on your PDF up there, you'll see that the first line has three different single note triplet combinations, but what we're going to do is we're going to keep the pulse the same as we go through, even though the time signature is going to change a couple times. And what that does is, what we're going to try to do is try to push that triplet farther back in time so that it's closer to the long note that follows it. So I'll play through that real quick. And it looks like I've got my Met set on 88, so I'll just play each bar 4 times. So you can hear there that as we went along, we kept the pulse the same, so the location of the long note was always on the beat, even though the time signature changed. But what we did was we made that triplet tighter and pushed it farther back in time so that it came later, but still ended on the beat. And so to me, that's, once you get to kind of the third pattern, and especially at this speed, I wouldn't notate those as I've notated them there. I would notate them like they are on the second line as 3-note roughs. So you have a primary note and then 3 grace notes that come before it. And so this would be defined in rudimental drumming as a 4-stroke rough, or concert snare drumming. This is a technique that we use all the time. I have a note there that you do not have to play this stuff exactly in time as it's notated on the first line, but that's a good place to start, is to make sure that you can play stuff in time. But the 3-note ornament is allowed to vary in time depending on your situation. So if you're playing with somebody that's playing exceptionally loose, then you might want to start that ornament a little earlier. And if you're playing with somebody that's exceptionally that's playing on top of the beat, or is very tight in their ornamentation, then you might want to make yours tighter as well. So, and again, that's how I would notate a 4-stroke rough: 3 grace notes and a primary note, with the idea being that it's a single motion. That's kind of the defining concept of the ornaments, is no matter how many notes in them, and it's got to feel like a single gesture. So it's not, which is 2 things there, da-ga-da-da, da-ga-da-da, but digga-da-ga, digga-da-ga. So that's the 4-stroke roughs, and we'll return to those in a minute. To play a normal rough, or a 3-stroke rough, what we're going to try to do is we're going to take that same technique, the triplet down, and we're going to try to take the first down of the triplet out. We're going to remove it and just start on the back. So then the sticking will be down for our primary note, and then the first note of the rough will be back, up, down, back, up, down. And so I have that same, those same 3 rhythms from the first line there, but now I've taken out the first note of the triplet on each case, so I'll try to give that a run now. All right, and again, you can hear that A, it's subtly different from the 4-stroke rough. And also that we're trying to scoot it back in time, but that it's still a single gesture. It's not. And that's the trickiest part. And so I've shown you there how to notate those, how I notate those as just normal roughs. And again, that sticking is back, up, down. We're going to change that later, but for now it's back, up, down. Again, these don't have to be in time exactly. They can be if you want them to be, certainly, but again, that's going to vary depending on your situation, who you're playing with. So the next thing you have there is 2 lines, 2 little exercises. It's the same exercise, but the first time it has 4-stroke roughs, and the second time it has normal roughs. So I'll play it 4 times and do a little break, and then play the normal rough version. So I'm still at 88 here. Okay, so that was with 4-stroke roughs, and now here it is with normal roughs. Okay, so you hear how all that goes. I would suppose the way that I would use these the most often would probably be in march contexts or something like that, to try to evoke that sense of like the military drumming style. So if you're playing something like, I don't know, Lord Mayo, or some other march like that, I might try to insert some of this stuff in there to try to do that. The bottom line on your page has something in triple time, and I decided to do it in slip jig time for once, because why not? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bump the Met up to 108, and then I'm going to play this. I'll play each measure 4 times. So what you see there is you have normal measure, then you have the 4-stroke rough at the beginning of the bar, then the 3-stroke rough. So again, that's going from a triplet down, back, up, down, and then just taking out that down. So then you'll have back, up, down for your 3-stroke triplet. Both of those are on the downbeat. Then the the 4th and 5th patterns of the bar on that line are a little trickier, because now the ornament modifies the 3rd note in a group of 3 instead of the 1st note. So it's a little trickier timing-wise to figure it out. But if you concentrate on making sure that you hit the 3rd note correctly, then the ornament just fits in wherever you need to fit it in your context. So I'm going to bump the Met up to 108 here, and then I'll play each bar this 4 times. And actually what I will do, I will make it in, put the meter in there as well. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So you hear how that works? So we'll go ahead and take a pause here for part one, and then we'll be back in a second for part two.